Good morning. It is hot, hot, hot here in Canada, and my Canadian ass is melting. It is like 102, I think, in America, and here it's like 40, 40 something. Hot, hot, hot. Anyway, today we are going to be joined with Lady Hollywood, Lady Holly. At Lady Hollywood, and she is an amazing human being, a good friend, and we actually have the same spiritual mentor. Allie is on vacation today, which is good. I've heard vacations are awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out sometime, but right now I am here with you, and it couldn't be any better. I hope you're well. One thing, yeah, it's just so hot. It's been really good to get into the garden, and one part of my spiritual practice that has been really, really fun in this last while is looking at plants and allowing them to be totems for me. So, what I mean by that is like looking at I was actually researching potatoes this morning. Hi, Joe. It's good to see you. Because I love potatoes so much, and I grow some in my garden because they're just so easy to grow. And I was looking at them and I was researching, well, what can I possibly do with the or the potato leaves just to see if there's any, use, any, I'm sure there's spells and stuff for that, but I kind of just wanted to learn about the plant itself. And one thing that when I was doing my meditation on potatoes, which sounds so weird, I was learning about how the leaves are actually quite poisonous. And it's the tuber, which is the only part of the plant that you can eat. And so as I was researching that, it kind of brought me to this realization that, there's so much. Sorry, I'm just like waving at people and looking for Lady Holly to see if she's hopped on yet. Okay, so Holly, just request to join, and then I will put you on there. So as I was doing this meditation on potatoes, I came to this realization that so much of our work, so much of the meat, hello and hello. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so much of our inner, and it's all beneath the surface and it's all below, and we don't, it's not. Okay, here we go. Talking and going live at the same time, it's really hard. Hello, Holly.
Hello, lovey. Lady
It's
H
so
in the building.
Are you in New York right now still?
I am in New York. Yes, I have made
How
it
is
back.
it there?
It's good. It's getting hot finally. Texas is hella hot, and now New York is trying to catch up. So I'm excited.
I can only imagine. My Canadian butt is just melting.
Oh, we're sorry.
we're not used to this. It's like I was just saying, it's like 40 degrees, which I think is like 102 in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, definitely.
Hot,
It's hot.
hot.
Hot. So where are you? Wherever, I forget where you are located.
I'm on Vancouver, so it's
Right.
about 2 hours north of Seattle.
Right. So yeah. Your butt's hot. Just saying.
My butt's hot. So I want to hear about you. Holly, you do so much amazing work, and I get to hear about it every month because we have the same spiritual mentor and we meet every month.
Yes.
And I so enjoy hearing your stories and about your work. I want to know more about you and what you do.
Awesome. Goodness, I transitioned. I think most people, I guess the beginning of my career, knew me as a R&B singer, as a artist, as an actor, artist. I went to school for theater, and then I fell in love with singing. And shout out to my famed kids, right? Because they after hours took me to a Pentecostal church, and I learned how to belt, and I learned how to sing in a different way. I had never sung like that. I grew up pretty hippie like my mom. Shout out to my mom. We were very, very much Unitarian Universalists. And so
Hey, I grew up Unitarian.
see, I knew it. So I actually got married in the big church in 79th Street and 70 Park and Central Park West. So yeah. So a big time, and I at the time I call her a hippie because she was just so much into that movement, but she wasn't a hippie. She was me, just young, just I didn't know what spiritual, a spiritual life would be and those modalities. And so, yeah, I grew up around a lot of spiritual, wonderful, wonder making women and men, who were, at that time they were called hippies because they played guitar, we drank wine, we ate cheese and crackers, and half of them were vegan or pescatarian. And I'm sure they smoked herb, but around the young person, I didn't see those moments. They did really good job back then of hiding their medicinal use. And then once I started, kind of with that foundation, because I sang opera, I played piano, I played the flute, play the recorder. And so, at these wonderful outdoor festivals, you're out there with your recorder, like getting it in. I play, timbre, anything, my mother's finger castanets, anything, like, just anything that was musical. And people on the new modality Clubhouse go, oh, well, you're always surrounded by music. And I'm like, because I am, I learned that I am I am the pink unicorn, and I am the music. So of course, career in film and news and entertainment, and then I segued into human resources, like from a professional side of my life, right? And then I wanted to have children. I've always subscribed to being this Wonder Woman. I've always had this moment of duality where I was neurally linguistically programmed. So if you could put tapes on in my ear overnight, I would learn the subject matter. And so I was skipped a few times in my lifetime. So but I wanted to go to high school and have a traditional high school experience. So imagine like having your 6-year-old having a college level reading level. Like, so my mother was just like, okay, she came out and we don't know what to do with her. Like but I would know where things were, and thank God to my abuela, because she took me all over the world in a sense. And so I got to go to countries because my mom was working and my grandmother was retired. So I got to go hang out with my grandmother and her buddies, right? So I love the elders. I love them. I miss them in 3D a lot because I don't have any of them left. But I got the beauty of being the 5th generation, growing up with all of my paternal and maternal grandparents, which was absolutely astounding. So again, so well traveled. By the time I was 10, I was working on passport number 2 in my teenage years. And decided I wanted to be Oprah at first. I think that's what I wanted to be. And people have shot me down and said that wasn't a way for me to go, in terms of like, trying to do it through a traditional news channel. And that I would have to start back in my career again and be like, hi, this is the local weather and my name is Holly, and I would have to do that. And so that wasn't appealing because I was already making 6 figures and I already had the big desk. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to give all that up yet. And I didn't subscribe to knowing that I was really feminine, or in my feminine divinity. I thought I was Kyle. I talk about it in some of my books, that I thought I was a white man, 6'1", really cute, whose name was Kyle. And I
Oh.
did. I because I was chasing money. I was chasing the almighty dollar. I was chasing, this level of wealth that I saw my white male counterparts achieving. And so I wanted it. And so I subscribed to going after it. So needless to say, after that, I'm still doing my music. Well, let's not ever get it twisted. Music is a part of who I am, and I never let that, I don't feel that is work. I feel that is me. And so I don't ever give up my music. So even now, like I have a whole new project ready to go. Actually 2 projects, which is, like, I feel like I'm birthing twins because on one side of the house, the music was so dope and I wanted to do that. And then I, started hanging out in Clubhouse and got to like hang out with Jimmy Jam and like all these people who I would not have had access to again on a regular basis, and especially not during COVID. So they encouraged me, Arden Altino and Jerry Wonder, so all my musical friends have encouraged me to drop this record. Super Dave West, shout out to you, and Sim Stevenson, like they encouraged me to do this thing with frequency, and I was like, can I write music in the frequency of love? Mm,
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, yes, because frequency of love, that's the spirit of music to you, isn't it? Like just from hearing what you were just saying.
Yeah. So so I've got this wide range of frequency to work with. So I think I nailed it. I think I did. I think I did. I think I did. I think I nailed it. And then my Clubhouse family, Heart Space, shout out to my Heart Spaces, my Womb Spaces, my Universes. They encouraged me to do affirmations. And so when we were kind of all getting together, I think one of the things that kind of kept us together through COVID was that we did this ritualistic kind of um, spirit training, and we were focused on our individual spiritual journeys, but that we were doing, affirming our souls in a collective, which I thought was like, oh my God, I've been doing this work on the spiritual side for so long. That's fantastic. Like how does that happen? Like how does a thing create this harmony where all of us can be together, where we all have the ability to see each other, even though we can't see each other. Oh, so that was just like riveting. So on the, I guess probably about right around when I got divorced. I was married for 20 some odd years. And so when I got divorced, my daughters, all my kids, 5 kids were sitting around the dinner table. And I just felt really sorry for my daughters in a way that I wasn't sorry for my sons, because my son is a twin with his twin sister. But he is absolutely fabulously, wonderfully gay and just experimental. I tease him sometimes, and I call him that he's trisexual, because sometimes I feel like he'll try anything. So, and I love you, Christian. I know no shade. It's just like, he's such a free spirit. He has if he wants it, he goes and gets it. Like it's fabulous to watch. And so, watching them. So like my oldest daughter, Noelle, and Bianca, and Zoe was the little one, and my other son, Aaron, all sitting around. And they were talking about sexuality. So imagine having a mom like me who works in sex education and pleasure as the principle of your life. I'm building my practice. I call it Know Thy Sex. And I'm like, yeah, because the things that my daughters were having to normalize at such a young age, I hadn't been exposed to.
Right.
I hadn't. I can honestly tell you, my mom did a really great job of growing me up. Even though I was thirsty to grow up, she didn't grow me up. She allowed me to have my own experiences. And what was phenomenal was that the beauty was I got to meet, so because of my age, I was in school with people who were way older than me because I had been skipped. So I have this wide range of friends that range in age from like 70 something to like, I've got like, little people in my life. So that was fantastic. So in doing that, and some of my spiritual mentors or people that I worked with, with the exception of like Tony Robbins, I think I've worked with them, and now Grant Cardone. Well, we want to work together, but there's no time. But I feel like I've worked with everybody, because from just the ability to spend money on oneself to professionally develop, especially in a position where I wasn't going to, like, I don't want to do another, like, I'm not going to go back to school to do a whole different modality. I'll do certifications in X, Y, and Z. So it was fascinating. So for me, if you talk about love energy, then Kundalini energy became interesting to me. So of course I went to to just university, just kind of like of tantric sex. So then I went to the Ramda Institute, and then I went to California, which is my home, and Nicole Dodone did this presentation. And so a friend of mine was like, get in this class. This is for you. It's right on your path. It's about extended orgasm. And I was like, okay.
Well, now you got my attention.
I was like, well, now you had me at orgasm. And I was like, all right, I'm in there. And so I go sit through this class, and it was for facilitators. So it wasn't just it was people off the street. It was people who were looking at adding this as a modality to their offering in terms of what if they were sex educators or whatever. And so instantly in the middle of the room, there's this man, and she's walking us through the process. And this woman comes out, and she gets naked from her waist down, and she sits on these pillows, and she for 15 minutes has freaking orgasms over and over and over again. And I'm sitting there going, this is not going to work in the Black community. I don't think I can do this. I can do a lot of shit, but I don't. I'm sorry. I was like, I don't know that I can do that right there in the Black community. I don't think I can do it. And she started laughing like you, but I was serious. I was like, yeah, no, I don't know how to sell that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to build my practice around doing that right there, just that. And she was like, no, you don't understand how many women don't fake it, and how many women need it, and how many men need to learn how to do it. And I was like, she's got a point. She's got a point.
Was she self-stimulating, or were they partners working together?
No, so they were partners working together. So in the practice, we have a stroke. What we have is called a stroker, and you have your in yourself, right? And so that was the intro into Om. And unfortunately, you know how this thing works. You start talking about spiritual life. You start talking about the fact that love energy keeps you in this Kundalini energy. So everybody gets very sexual and very heightenedly aware of their sexuality and wants to be free. And so then they had all this, um, uh, joy and rapture. And so they kind of got into this cult like living style and like these community living arrangements. And I forgot who the news person was who kind of investigated and kind of broke up all of that piece of it. So while she got it trademarked, so the actual method is trademarked, the
Mm-hmm.
practice is no longer it was actually very global. It was getting a lot of momentum. It was on everything.
And it was deemed a cult?
Sort of, kind of, yeah. Without saying that, I think the New York Times article referred to it like that. Where
Is
they
that true or not true? Just from somebody who's no.
No, I mean, I didn't do the living. I took the classes and I got my certification and I got the app and I was good. Like I was on my way.
Yes.
What they were doing was doing this repeat, like, paying and all of a sudden staying and living, and
Hmm.
the strokers are men. And so they wound up staying and like hanging out. And then I don't know, I really don't know how it all kind of came to play, but it was like this whole big community. And so they busted it up and it was over. So, I'm without the tool because the app was amazing,
Hmm.
because they took it down, or she took it down. But it was great to be able to know that there was a practice that I firmly believed in. I still firmly believe in it. I now call it euphoric orgasm. So, euphoric oming, because at 15 minutes, you should be in euphoria. If you're not in
Yeah.
euphoria by then, honey, I can't tell you. We need all kinds of other tools.
So
But
there's Kundalini energy and then there's Tantra energy. And this is where they were joining. Like, can
yes,
you kind of maybe explain to me like the difference between, like, I'm familiar with Tantra and I'm familiar with Kundalini, but
mm-hmm.
tell me about a little bit about the difference and how they were marrying together in this practice that you do.
Well, well, we marry it in that. So for men, it's around um, delaying orgasm, and for women, it's around, so it's like putting the woman first in a sense, or the female partner first. Sorry. Ooh, I'm using all my wrong verbiage today. The person with the vagina goes first, right? Right? If you're in a heteronormative relationship, or if you're in a same-sex relationship, it's the partner who you deem as, you want to give pleasure to, right? So I want to clear that up. And so it is all around clitoral stimulation, but it through breath work and through that relaxation and through a absolute commitment to that person for 15 minutes, where it's not about you. It is really about satisfying, and getting you to a place of orgasm, and expression that makes you feel, and of course now that I've added the euphoric, like you walk away, whether you have sex or not,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're in this wonderful state, and it becomes this, you derive energy. You learn how to take that orgasmic energy and fuel everything that you're doing. So for me, it's like, if I'm tired, if I go to have an extended orgasm, hell, I'll get up and do like a whole closet. I'll reorganize my drawers. Like I get energy. Like women, it's unfortunate that we gain power. Like I have the power. We turn into He-Man after a good orgasm, and we can have multiple. Men don't. And so that's how I started to then break my practice down, which was now it's know thyself to know thyself is really what I've called it, or what I've rebranded it as, because there are so many pieces of this that from a spiritual perspective needed to be explored. Like you said, like people are familiar with Kundalini, or they've taken a Tantra class, but then how do I sit in and understand my own pleasure? And I think that was for me the biggest part that was missing, is that we were using these devices, and I just was afraid that my kids would lose touch, like they weren't going to have conversations anymore. The fact that you can swipe left or right and like get a hookup, and it's art, there's no art to it anymore. There's nothing, like if I can swipe left and like send you a couple of pics, and then I know I'm going to get it, it's like, well, okay, it's like McDonald's of sex now. I'm like, I'm so sorry we gave you fast food because, honey, these aren't the fries. Sometimes it's just not the fries to go. Um, and so, yeah, so that's literally some of the work that I had done. And then I guess right before I started to do the training around the practice, I had traveled all over the world. And so I had started working with a doctor, when I was in Dubai and in Africa bring awareness to female mutilation of the genitalia. And
Mm.
so the fact to me that that was still happening, the fact that women were still getting raped globally at a volume. And so I had worked on the Gates Millennial Developmental Goals around female reproductive rights and reproductive health. And it was a big thing because, again, I have 5 kids. Like I am the poster child for female reproductive female reproductive things working. And so that was just part of my after coming out of corporate America and being in touch with not being a woman for so long. I dived into everything all about women, especially about women's health. Um,
Mm.
and
That's just fascinating, like, because I want to know about that journey from moving from Kyle, white man Kyle, to
yeah,
fully encompass divine feminine Holly, a Wonder
yeah,
Woman Holly now. Like, how did that happen?
it happened because I had a miscarriage in between my 3
Mm.
oldest children and my son.
I'm so sorry.
No, the universe is divine. Like I've expressed so much gratitude, but it was wild to carry a child and not have the heart develop. So
Mm.
there was no heartbeat. Um, and in that moment, I was like, whoa, like, men can't do this. Like, and the fact that then we were going to try again. Um, and sitting in that and watching my ex-husband kind of grieve that, and I grieve that, and there's the siblings didn't know, his siblings didn't know, but just to sit with that in a moment of kind of a retreat. I had gone off to do yoga, which I love people who do yoga, but yoga and I are not friends, because I have too much going on. Like yoga, like I like hot yoga. I like some of the poses. I just don't like the communal. We're gonna all sit and do yoga moment. Um, I'm very tennis. I'm very A-type. I'm very, I'm very like, can I do yoga by myself? Okay, good. Give me the guided meditation. I'll go do it myself. I like the breathing exercises. I like some of the stretches. But like to get into it as a rigor wasn't my thing. Coming out of like sports and doing other stuff. So I had gone on this retreat, and I had a spiritual bath, and I had walked into a ceremony of Orishas and I forgot what it was called now. Orishas and the Warrior. Which I thought was riveting to this day. Made me kind of dive in to my ancestral roots in a way that my abuela would have been very proud, because I was forced to sit in everything that I was. So my Puerto Rican, which is Taino Indian, my Native American Indian, which is Sioux and Northern Band Cherokee, my German, and my African. And I was like, wow, I really am out of touch, because I'm not going to hit that. I'm hitting a glass ceiling. I am not a white man. While I have all the information that I can possibly have and know how and I can hang, I definitely got a card. Um, and then I went to Africa again, and I hadn't been to Africa since I had been in undergrad. So I hadn't been in Kenya for years. And so I think it was 20, had to be 20, what year was it? Ooh, I forgot what year it was. 2000, actually, no, the peak of 2000. And I
Mm.
got to go back to, because my son was like, hey, so we birthed, no, 98, because we birthed him. I was going to say, because he was born in 99. So 98, had to be 98. And I felt like I was home. I had this divine experience, and I was like, whoa, got it. Like, I got the downloads. And of course, I had gone to Egypt. And then so that's, people go, well, what is this thing about you in Egypt? And Egypt for me was this unveiling of the new me when I realized I was a goddess. Like, I looked on the wall and I saw this hieroglyph, and I was like, it was like a mirror experience. And I was just like, that looks like me. Like, that looks like me. Just had this wonderful epiphany in the temple of Hatshepsut. And so
I
she
love
was,
her.
yeah, she's the only female that convinced, the world that she was a god amongst men. And so I was like, oh, it goes with my Diana theme. It's all making sense. It's all plugging in. Like was that song? All coming back to me now. Right? And so I'm like plugging in, like, okay, it's all making sense. And that's when I decided that my life had changed, and that I had been rebirthed in a sense. in 2000 I went again, and then went to Greece and Turkey, and then like so I just started to, because I had done so much traveling as a young person, and then stopped to be a wife and a mom, and climb the corporate ladder. But we always had corporate offices. And I took these wonderful vacations, but I didn't sit anywhere like for any length of time. And so for me, Egypt has been an educational factor. Matter of fact, we're going again. I'm taking whoever wants to go. It's an open trip. I don't have any. The way I did it right before the COVID was that it was my mom's 80th birthday, my 50th birthday, and my daughter's 14th birthday. So we called it 80, 14, 50. And so now we're going again because there's a solar eclipse at the temple of Abu Samel, and I'm doing it with Yoniverse on Clubhouse. And so the womb space is going to take whomever wants to go in their divine feminine or masculine energy and go watch the solar eclipse with me and feel that red rock. And so there are different chakras in the world, and I want to make sure I visit them all in the next 2 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so everything you say, I'm like, we could either go down this hole or this rabbit hole, this rabbit hole, but because there's so much here. But let's talk about that moment when you have your divine download and you know who you are. How do you change your life, or how does your life reflect this inner change that you've just birthed?
I started, so Four Agreements became a big part of my life. Queen Afua, Sacred Woman, became a big part of my life, and actually understanding that. Yeah. I bought that book. My sister dated her son, like before he was Supernova Salam. Yeah, so he went to he's an alma mater for my high school, and so, and then all of the Ailey dancers. So it's deep down inside, I am a dancer, right? I think there is a dancer in there somewhere. Just I don't have the feet, I don't have the curved toes like all my dancer friends, and and I was definitely an acting major, but in my heart, I'm a dancer. And so they all used to go out and go to Queen Afua, like go to the bathhouse. Like in New York, there was like a spot where you hang out, go to the bathhouses, and then because dancers need to be a certain weight, they introduced me to colon cleanses and things of that nature. And Queen Afua had this whole spot in New York where you can go do all this. And so, of course, then I went on one of the retreats, and then I got a chance to hang out with this conference that Dr. Sebi, before he got very, very too old to start doing conferences. And he broke down CMOS for me, and he broke down uh, just a human experience in a way that I hadn't heard, it validated what I had heard. So Rosetta Lenoir, who used to be on Family Matters, who was a grandmother, was like, if I cut you, you're going to bleed, and we're going to bleed. We all bleed the same. So the fact that we subscribe to the fact that there's a color is unfortunate. And it wasn't then later in life to meeting Dr. Jill Pookrum, who is an OBGYN and absolutely anointed on her just on her grind, that she broke down human in terms of the amount of melanin in one's skin. So that our verbiage after I did her brain balancing course was melanin dominant and melanin recessive. So that we're all the same, we're all made from the same, our microtubule systems are carrying the same information. It's just that some of us have more melanin than others. Now, that's simply what it's about. And so for us to be racist and for us to have a problem with it is something that we've taught ourselves. You have to teach somebody to hate you. And so again, we're working in music still always, that's always a love frequency. So that always will always be a foundation of, or my grounding moment of when, if I feel like the world is spiraling, it'll be about some music. It'll be about me creating. It'll be about me hearing the cacophony that is nightfall in Texas and Community like 2 weeks ago. It was like, I don't need music. This is all music. This is the beat of the water hitting the thing, like over by, like anywhere I am is always going to be there's always a soundtrack, whether it's nature's soundtrack or one that I put on to have amplified. And that was when the big aha moment came. And again, then to tie it into the sexual energy, because of course, after I got divorced, I was like, I was thought in a bot and I was a hoe. And so I was like, wow, I've had sex with one person for so long. I need to go spread my wings. And now I know this new thing. I know how to do this thing. And I know how to teach other people how to do this thing, I guess. And so in terms of finding myself through my own sexual expression, I then started to bolt on all the stuff that I wanted to learn about. I had already done massage through the Swedish Institute, so Rama Institute, like, so I'm like knocking them down in terms of all the stuff that I was learning. Started to look at what crystals were and go on that journey. I had so many women around me who were also light healers, who were doing their yoga, their all the different modalities of the different yoga. I forget the Krishna, whatever the names of the different yogas are, and Kripalu and all this different stuff. And then I have a wonderful friend who works for um, one of the yoga institutes, and so Luke Ketterhagen that's my dude, and so his whole family, lived at the ashram, and so they had gone to India, and so it was amazing to me how the practice of yoga and how the practice of energy work became something big. Then I went to Nigeria, and in Nigeria, that was major because that was a moment of getting to see a babalao really work with individuals and understanding how someone is picked to be a healer, and picked to understand that they have this power, this God-given power, if you want to call it the universe, that moment of you had the healing in your hands kind of moment. And so I was like, oh, and when watching that happen, is when I kind of it all clicked that I don't know what to call it, but it's going to be me, right? So it's going to be, I don't know how to brand it, how to market it, because there's so many different pieces of this. Working with women behind the veil, there's different issues. Working with women here, different issues. But then I started working with men, which is hysterical because I was like, whoa, like, what is it about me that brings men as clients? And it was really because I was Kyle. And so I do resonate as that girl dude. And so I know how to make them feel very comfortable because I thought I was one. So,
I love it. It's like the full circle of that moment of where it comes from brokenness,
yeah.
but then fully empowered and healed and working to heal you and so many more. That gives me goosebumps. That's amazing.
I like goosebumps. Goosebumps are good.
Goosebumps are good.
Goosebumps are good.
So you have this download that you are a healer, this almost like anointing, the spiritual anointing of becoming a healer. So you moved from corporate America to start working your own practice?
So I do my own practice. I started doing nonprofits because I wanted to, see the world, kind of understand this mission that I was geared on, and then now transitioning out of corporate to my own practice. So that's what I'm doing now. Is that making that leap of faith is like gaining the last bits of the formative information that I want. And gaining the understanding the community. And I think one of the things the Clubhouse has done is allowed me to do it in like nano time, because in one fell swoop, I've got different people in a room who are from different parts of the world, and so I don't have to go to all those places versus plug in and then bolt on and develop partnerships and friendships and do the work. COVID taught us that we could do the work remotely. I was really, really sad that I was like, oh, you're venturing into this, and now COVID happens, and you need to be with the person. There's something about a good camera and an energy that I had to get over that, because it wasn't about the being in person. It's about the work, and the work is energy work, and so the phone or the camera, it can also suffice.
Connecting with people regardless.
Yeah. You just have to make it. It's just a little harder, to concentrate and to make sure you set a conscious intention to that focus on it. But yes, it is definitely not a hindrance to this work.
So what exactly are you doing, and how can people find you?
So, knowthysex.com, ladyholly.com, Lady Hollywood on social platforms, only because, the plant people, because Holly is a tree. And the other little girl does anime. So I know them all, because it's like, can I have my name back? But it was too late. You had to be first. I had to be first online. I wasn't first online. But I do own my ladyholly.com and knowthysex.com. And again, Instagram, of course, is Lady Hollywood. Facebook, I think, is also Lady Hollywood, or The Lady Holly. And Instagram is The Lady Sings. On Twitter. That's right. Twitter is The Lady Sings. So yeah, I'm socially full. I'm on Snapchat. But it's always Lady Holly or Lady Hollywood. If I didn't get just the Lady Holly.
So how does someone know that they're ready to work with you? Like, what would they come to you to work on for? Does that make
No, it It's interesting. Somebody just asked me this in retreat, and so they said, "Well, I handle the babies," and I was like, "Well, yeah, I don't do the babies so much. I'm not there to help you with whether or not you have a spiritual calling. I'm not that person. I'm not the person to help you go into your aha moment. I'm your person that helps you after you start amassing your tools and you kind of know what where your purpose and destiny is kind of aligned, and then to flesh that out. So I know a lot of my clients are, finding where their divinity is, finding that they know that they're sovereign, they know that they're seeking this divinity, but they're stepping into it in a way like, I really want to, it's all about my this, and whatever that this is, then we work through that to explore it. Trauma. So a lot of people have a lot of layers to pull back so that they can get into their expanded consciousness, and be able to operate and manifest at a different level. And so I do a lot of that work. I wind up doing that a lot, because people just have come. There's a lot of stuff that people have told people that they can't, that they're not good enough, that the industry did X. I went to school for X, but I'm trying to segue into Y. And interestingly enough, both my careers in human resources help, because then I have tools to help them through career shift and transition while they're manifesting to get to their purpose. So whatever their purpose is always underlining. So a lot of it is around grooming folks for that next level success, especially around business. A couple of my clients are crushing life right now because they're getting in alignment, and having the courage to be able to say, it's time to work with somebody to get you there. I think is how we all met, because that's when I said I need somebody to help put the light back in my lamp, and how I got to Duran, right? So it's like, Duran Alchemy, shout out, woo woo.
Yeah,
Without
absolutely.
you, we wouldn't have met, right? So yeah, so it's that moment of my saying, it's like the diamond on my hand doesn't remember being a piece of coal, and so I'm here to buff you, because I'm the diamond too. So it's like I can buff you, I can make sure you shine bright, hone it in on a different level, and so that's the level. So I would say I get the the intermediate to advanced level folks, and then I would hand you off to a Queen Afua. You know what I mean? In terms of if you because I would say we're different in many terms, but she's got so much rich history, so that she would be the masterclass person. Like just when you watch Jada Pinkett, and she had all this, she has like 6 people that she works with in her life, and Queen of we all cried. We're all calling each other like, that was so, because for an entertainer to admit that that's how many people it takes to get them in the right place. And I don't know if you noticed, the Jada's wrapping her hair now. It's like, she understands where her light is. She understands to keep it covered. She understands to keep grounded. Like, there's certain things that I just changed in my life. Sorry, I've gotten New York summertime bikers. The highway was closed all day, and so now it's open. And so we call it Biker Sunday. So now the traffic is back. So now I hear it, interestingly enough. But yeah, so I love that moment of her expressing herself, wanting to find herself, and then knowing that she has these wonderful folks that she reaches out to help support the person that she is every day, to be able to show up and do the work that she's got planned for the universe is amazing. So that was great to see. That was absolutely great to see. And knowing that Queen of Fool was one of them, that was, yeah.
Yeah, and how powerful for a person in, like, I don't know, social authority to be like, no, I need all these people to support me, because it totally shoots down that thing like you need to do it on your own.
Right.
Or yeah, which is a complete lie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you work with people kind of transitioning from that moment of having their instant download to, how do I play with this new found self?
Yep.
Do you work mostly with like spiritual entrepreneurs, or people looking for sexual enlightenment? Like both.
Mm-hmm. Both equally. Yes,
Beautiful.
ma'am. And people we've termed low vibration. They're doing their low vibrational shrooms, where they're sitting in ego still. And so while I encourage them to go find someone to remove ego, I love the fact that they know that they are sitting in ego, and so shifting to allow ego to work for you versus you working for your ego is very, very important once you get to this level.
Yeah, because we can't eliminate ego. We have to work with it.
Yeah. Well, she works for me.
Yeah.
She's my protector. She's like my big dog. Like, people don't understand, ego is there to protect you. And so
Yeah.
when you think about why ego is why it's important to get a handle on it, it's because that is like when I need the ego. It's like, all right, when the Wonder Twin powers, it's like, all right, ego, come on, let's get it. I need you to go do X, Y, and Z. She's on the payroll. She's there, but she's so in check.
Absolutely, absolutely, but not necessarily running the show
You got
anymore.
it. You got it.
I could talk to you all day, but I know you're in New York with family and have so much going on, so I want to let you go. But if there's one piece of wisdom that you would tell like other young men and women and them sitting around the table, like you were thinking with your own kids, what would you leave us with?
That there is you have a heart song, and there's nobody that can ever 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 take that melody or rhythm away from you, and it's the things that you bolt on in life that become the song to it. So that become the melody, that become the movement of the music, right? So you may have like just a little portion of it, and you might hear it. It's how you layer on the other components, and like a soulmate potentially is the melody to your harmony, or the rhythm to your, however you see yourself. But know that when you don't fulfill it, it almost just continues to play. It never dies out. You hear it. And I think being able to sit with yourself and know that it's your song, and that you get to sing it, and you get to sing it loud, and that we would want to share, because in the frequency of love, I feel like in cosmically, I want to hear that melody. I miss out, because if you don't explore it and you don't bring it forth, then only you hear it, and that's not fair. We're meant to hear all the music, and so let your music play.
That's powerful. Goosebumps again. I love it. Goosebumps on a hot day. I'll take it.
Girl, we gotta get you some AC.
I know. Well, thank you so much. Again, I could talk to you all day. There's so much love and wisdom here.
Yes.
Go seek Lady Holly out. She has so much to share and give. And yeah, I'll get the links from her and drop them down below when I repost this and when I post it on all the other places.
You got it.
I will see you soon, my love.
See you soon, my love. Great rest of your day. Thank you so much for having me on. I love you.
It's so good. I love you too.
Later.
Later.